In a picturesque village, nestled between rolling hills and lush green meadows, there lived an old man named Mr. Johnson. He was known throughout the village for his kindness, wisdom, and his love for animals. Mr. Johnson had a small farm where he cared for various animals, including cows, chickens, and goats. One bright and sunny morning, as Mr. Johnson was tending to his garden, he heard a faint cry coming from the edge of the forest. Curious, he followed the sound and discovered a small calf trapped in a thicket of thorns. The poor calf looked frightened and exhausted, unable to free itself. Without hesitation, Mr. Johnson carefully approached the calf and began to gently untangle it from the thorns. The calf, relieved to be free, nuzzled against Mr. Johnson gratefully. From that moment on, the calf never left Mr. Johnson's side. Mr. Johnson named the calf Oliver, and they quickly formed a deep bond. Oliver would follow Mr. Johnson everywhere, his big brown eyes filled with trust and affection. Mr. Johnson would often sit under the shade of a tree, reading stories to Oliver and teaching him about the world around them. As Oliver grew, he became Mr. Johnson's faithful companion, helping him with chores around the farm and keeping him company during long walks through the meadows. The villagers marveled at the special bond between the old man and the calf, and they often stopped by Mr. Johnson's farm to see them together. One day, a terrible storm swept through the village, leaving behind a trail of destruction. The fields were flooded, and many of the villagers lost their homes and crops. Mr. Johnson knew he had to do something to help his neighbors in need. Gathering what little resources he had, Mr. Johnson set out to assist those affected by the storm. With Oliver by his side, he worked tirelessly, helping to rebuild homes and providing food for the hungry. His selfless actions inspired others in the village to join him, and soon the community came together to overcome the devastation. Months passed, and the village began to flourish once again, thanks to the resilience and compassion of its people. Mr. Johnson and Oliver continued to be inseparable, spreading love and kindness wherever they went. As the years went by, Mr. Johnson grew older, and his steps became slower. Oliver, now a fully grown bull, stayed by his side, offering him comfort and companionship in his twilight years. One peaceful evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Mr. Johnson sat on the porch of his farmhouse, watching the world go by. Oliver lay at his feet, his warm breath creating small puffs of steam in the cool evening air. With a contented smile on his face, Mr. Johnson looked down at Oliver and said, "Thank you, my dear friend, for all the joy and companionship you have brought into my life." And as the stars twinkled in the night sky, Mr. Johnson and Oliver sat together, basking in the warmth of their enduring friendship, a testament to the bond between man and animal.